Have you ever looked at the chaos of your life, the heartbreaks, the failures, the endless loops of struggle, and whispered to the night sky, "What did I do to deserve this? Is this a punishment?" It is the most haunting question of the human experience. We often feel like prisoners serving a sentence in a world that is indifferent to our pain, paying debts for a past we cannot even remember. But what if the very premise of your suffering is wrong? The ancient wisdom of the East whispers a revolutionary truth. You are not here to be punished. You are here to be polished. The universe is not a courtroom, but a classroom. Every challenge you face is not a penalty, but a precise curriculum designed by your own soul to engineer its evolution. Today, we will unravel the mystery of why you are really here, transforming the heavy chains of karma into the wings of liberation. Welcome to Buddha Coha. If you are ready to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start understanding the magnificent design of your soul, please subscribe and join our community of seekers. Let us begin. Part 1: The Self-Building Mandala, Evolution as Engineering. The Story, the Master and the Tapestry. To understand the true nature of your life's design, we must journey in our minds to the high, snow-capped peaks of the Himalayas. Legend tells of a hidden monastery known as the Temple of the Clouds. It was said that the High Lama residing there could answer any question about the soul. A young traveler, broken by the cruelty of the world, climbed the treacherous path to find this great master. This young man carried a heart heavy with grief. He had lost his beloved to illness, his home to fire, and his trust to betrayal. He desperately needed to know why the heavens were punishing him. When he finally reached the temple gates, expecting to see a majestic figure on a golden throne, he found nothing of the sort. The main hall was empty. He wandered into the courtyard and found only an old monk in faded robes, sitting on a simple wooden stool, weaving a rug on a large, creaking loom. "I am looking for the great master," the young man said, bowing impatiently. "I have questions about my karma." The old monk did not look up. He continued to pass the shuttle back and forth. Clack clack. "I am the one you seek," the monk whispered, his voice as rough as the wool in his hands. "But I do not teach with words today. I teach with threads." The young man collapsed at the monk's feet, weeping. "Master, tell me why. Why is the tapestry of my life so hideous? I have tried to be good. I have tried to be kind. But look at my life. It is a mess of knotted threads, dark, muddy colors, and torn edges. Surely, I am cursed." The master stopped weaving. He stood up slowly and beckoned the young man to approach the loom. "Come," he said gently. "Stand here." He placed the young man behind the loom, the side where the weaver sits. "Tell me what you see." The young man looked. From the back, the rug was indeed a disaster. Threads hung loose and jagged. Knots were tied tightly, bulging with tension. Colors clashed violently. It looked like chaos. "This is how you view your life," the master said softly. "You are living on the back side of the loom. You feel the knots of struggle. You feel the tension of the threads being pulled until they almost snap. You see the darkness of the thread and call it bad karma. You see the cut of the scissor and call it loss." Then, the master guided the young man to the front of the loom. "Now, look." The young man gasped. From the front, the chaos resolved into a masterpiece of breathtaking beauty. It was an image of the Buddha sitting peacefully under the Bodhi tree at sunset. The muddy colors were the necessary shadows that gave the figure depth. The knots were the anchors that held the image together. The cuts were where one chapter ended, so a new form could emerge. You are not being punished for the knots, the master smiled, placing a hand on the young man's shoulder. You are simply in the middle of the weaving. You cannot judge the masterpiece while you are still the thread. The Dharma, reincarnation, is a process of engineering. This story illustrates the fundamental shift we must make to understand the purpose of life. We must move from the perspective of the victim, looking from the back of the loom, to the perspective of the soul, looking from the front. Reincarnation is not a judicial system where you are sent to jail for past crimes. That is a human concept projected onto the divine. Instead, reincarnation is a process of spiritual engineering. It is a self-building mandala. In Tibetan Buddhism, the mandala represents the universe and the self, constructed with infinite patience, grain by grain. Your life is this mandala. Before you were born, your consciousness, vast, ancient, and wise, reviewed its own development. It asked, "What do I still need to understand? What aspect of love have I not yet mastered?" If your soul wished to learn resilience, it could not learn it in a realm of perfect ease. It had to engineer a life containing adversity. If your soul wished to learn forgiveness, it had to engineer a life where you would be hurt, for there is no forgiveness without a wound. If your soul wished to learn courage, it had to engineer a life containing fear. You are not thrown into this world blindly. You are the architect who designed the blueprint, and then, bravely, you agreed to enter the building and forget you held the plans. The illusion of separation, the feeling that you are alone and disconnected, is the friction required for you to grow. Just as a diamond requires friction to shine, your soul requires the resistance of the physical world to awaken its latent power. Part 2. The initial stages, sensation and the architecture of ego. The Zen story, the monk and the burning coal. To understand why we need this heavy, difficult physical experience, we turn to a story from the Zen tradition. There was a young novice monk named Hashin who was obsessed with purity. He wanted to transcend the physical world entirely. He fasted until he was weak. He sat in the snow until he was blue. He despised his body, calling it a sack of filth, and he despised his emotions, calling them distractions. One winter evening, he sat by the hearth with his master. The fire was dying down. Hashin spoke, "Master, I wish to be like the smoke. Pure, weightless, rising to the heavens, leaving no trace. I hate being the wood. The wood is heavy, it burns, it turns to ash. I want to be free of this form." The master nodded silently. He reached into the fire with iron tongs and pulled out a glowing red coal. He held it up. "Hashin," the master asked, "can you feel the heat of this coal?" "Yes, master, even from here," Hashin replied. "Now," the master said, dropping the coal into a bucket of water. Hiss. The coal turned black and cold. "Can you feel its heat now?" "No, master." The master looked at him deeply. "The spirit is like the fire. But without the wood, the fire has nowhere to burn. Without the wood, the fire cannot provide warmth to others. You want to be smoke because you are afraid of the burning. But it is the burning that creates the light." The deep analysis, the ego as the necessary vessel. This brings us to the initial purpose of reincarnation, sensation and contrast. Consciousness, in its absolute, unmanifested state, is like potential energy. It is vast, silent, and peaceful. But it cannot know itself experientially. It is like an eye that can see everything but itself. To know itself, it needs a mirror. That mirror is the physical world. The first stage of our evolution is to build a stable ego. In spiritual circles, the ego is often vilified. We are told to kill the ego. But the Tibetan teachers warn against this misunderstanding. They teach that the ego is a tool, not an enemy. Imagine you want to drink the water of life. You cannot hold water in your bare hands, it slips through your fingers. You need a cup. The ego is that cup. It is the container that allows you to hold an identity, to say, I am, to feel distinct from the tree, the rock, and the other person. We spend many lifetimes constructing this cup. We need to feel the sharp contrast of existence. We need to know the difference between hot and cold, pleasure and pain, desire and fear. We need to feel the crushing weight of grief to understand the depth of love. We need to feel the paralysis of fear to understand the movement of courage. We need to feel the isolation of loneliness to eventually yearn for unity. The Tibetans view the ego as a vehicle. You do not destroy your car because you want to reach a destination, you learn to drive it. The problem arises not because we have an ego, but because we think we are the ego. We mistake the cup for the water. Your current personality, with all its quirks, fears, and preferences, is the suit of armor your soul fashioned to survive this specific era of history. Do not hate it. Thank it. It has protected you. It has allowed you to navigate the density of this world. The goal of evolution is not to escape the ego, but to make it transparent, so that the light of the soul can shine through it without obstruction. Part 3, Karma to Dharma, the Cosmic Compass. The parable, the echo in the canyon. Let us explore the mechanism that guides this evolution. We call it karma. But most of us have it wrong. We think karma is retribution. Imagine a little boy standing at the edge of a vast, deep canyon. He feels angry because his toy is broken. In his frustration, he screams into the void, I hate you. A second later, the wind carries the voice back to him, magnified and distorted, I hate you. I hate you. The boy is terrified. He thinks there is a monster in the canyon who hates him. He screams back, louder, go away. The canyon roars back, go away. Go away. Crying, he runs to his mother. Mother, there is a bad man in the canyon who is screaming at me. The mother, wise and patient, takes the boy's hand and leads him back to the edge. She kneels beside him and whispers, now, shout, I love you. The boy hesitates, trembling, but he trusts his mother. He shouts, I love you. The canyon sings back, sweet and clear, I love you. I love you. The insight, karma is pattern recognition. This simple parable explains the mechanics of karma. Karma is not a judge sitting on a cloud with a gavel. Karma is an echo. It is the cosmic compass. Karma is the law of pattern recognition. It is the universe's way of showing you what you are broadcasting. It is a feedback loop designed to help you self-correct. You repeat and relive unconscious patterns not because you are cursed, but because the lesson has not yet been integrated. The universe is incredibly patient. It will present you with the same dynamic, wearing different faces, lifetime after lifetime, until you recognize the reflection. Think about your own life. Do you find yourself constantly in relationships where you are not valued? That is not bad luck. That is the echo. The canyon is reflecting a part of you that does not yet value itself. Do you find yourself constantly battling authority figures? That is the echo. The canyon is reflecting an internal conflict with your own power. The great shift, from karma to dharma. There is a specific moment in the soul's journey when the wheel of karma begins to slow down. It is the moment you shift from reaction to creation. This is the transition into dharma. Dharma is your true path, your spiritual purpose. How do we find it? By changing the question we ask in the dark. For lifetimes, we ask the victim's question, why is this happening to me? This question keeps us running from the echo. It keeps us screaming, go away, into the canyon. The awakening soul asks the student's question, what is this teaching me? This simple shift changes everything. When you ask, what is this teaching me? You stop fighting the situation and start harvesting the wisdom from it. You stop being a victim of the plot and become the author of the story. When you realize that the monster in the canyon is just your own voice returning to you, you stop being afraid. You begin to intentionally project love, patience, and kindness, knowing that these, too, will return. This is how you break the cycle. You do not break karma by fighting it, you break it by understanding it and choosing a different input. If this explanation of karma resonates with your spirit, please take a moment to like this video. It helps this message find others who are still running from their echoes. And remember to subscribe to Buddha Coha for more wisdom on your path. Part 4, The Bridge to Liberation, Compassion and the Shadow. The story, Asanga and the Wounded Dog. Now we reach the deepest part of our journey. How do we finally graduate from this school of karma? The answer lies in a powerful story from the high plateaus of Tibet, the legend of the great scholar monk Asanga. Asanga was a devoted practitioner who yearned to receive teachings directly from Maitreya Bodhisattva, the embodiment of loving kindness and the future Buddha. He believed that only Maitreya could clarify the deepest meaning of the scriptures for him. He climbed to a remote mountain cave and meditated for 3 years. He prayed, he visualized, he fasted. Nothing happened. Discouraged, he left. But on his way down, he saw a man rubbing an iron bar with a piece of silk. What are you doing? Asanga asked. I am making a needle, the man said. Asanga was struck by the man's patience. If he can make a needle from a bar of iron, I can keep meditating. He went back. 3 more years passed. Then 3 more. Then 3 more. 12 years passed. 12 years of solitude. 12 years of silence. And still, no vision. No bodhisattva. Asanga was crushed. He felt abandoned by the universe. It is a lie, he wept. There is no Maitreya. I have wasted my life. He walked down the mountain, defeated. As he neared a village, he saw a dog lying in the dirt. It was a nightmare of a sight. The dog's back legs were broken. Its body was rotting, covered in open sores that were swarming with maggots. The animal whined in agony, dragging itself through the dust. Passers-by covered their noses and kicked dust at it to keep it away. Asanga stopped. In that moment, his 12 years of philosophy vanished. He didn't see a filthy beast. He didn't see bad karma. He saw suffering. Pure, raw suffering. And he realized that this dog's pain was not separate from his own. His heart broke open, not with pity, but with a fierce, overwhelming compassion. He knelt in the filth. He wanted to clean the maggots from the wounds, but he realized that if he pulled them out with his fingers, he would crush them. He did not want to harm one life to save another. So, Asana decided to do something repulsive to the ordinary mind. He closed his eyes, leaned down, and extended his tongue to gently lift the maggots from the rotting flesh. He lowered his face. But his tongue never touched the dog. As he leaned in, the dog dissolved into a rainbow of light. Asana opened his eyes. He was not kneeling in the mud. He was surrounded by a golden radiance. Standing before him, glorious and smiling, was Maitreya Bodhisattva. Asana fell to his knees, weeping. "Lord, I called for you for 12 years. I suffered in that cave. Why did you never come? Why did you leave me alone?" Maitreya spoke, his voice like the sound of a calm ocean. "Asana, I never left you. I was with you in the cave. I was the iron bar. I was the wind. But your heart was closed. You were looking for a celestial being to worship, not a suffering being to love. Your karma and your intellectual pride blinded you." Maitreya Bodhisattva gestured to his golden robes. There, on the hem, were stains of blood from the dog. It was only when you were willing to touch the suffering of the lowest being with your own flesh, when you were willing to embrace the ugly, the rotting, the painful, that your vision cleared. Compassion is the only bridge that crosses the abyss. The integration, embracing the shadow. This story contains the secret of integration. We often think spirituality is about love and light. We want to feel good. We want to be peaceful. But true awakening requires us to face the shadow. In the Tibetan tradition, the path to enlightenment involves facing the wrathful deities. These are terrifying figures in the iconography, surrounded by flames, drinking blood. They are not demons. They are you. They are the parts of yourself you have rejected. They are your rage, your grief, your shame, your terror. They are the rotting dog of your own psyche. Most of us spend our lives kicking the dog, trying to ignore our pain, trying to numb our trauma. But you cannot awaken by suppressing the darkness. You awaken by bringing the light of consciousness into the darkness. The shadow is simply energy that has been exiled. When Asana leaned in to kiss the wound, the dog became the bodhisattva. When you lean into your own pain, when you stop running from your anxiety, your depression, your anger, and instead treat it with gentle curiosity and compassion, it transforms. The energy that was locked in the trauma is released and becomes your power. Compassion is the bridge. It is the mechanism that dissolves the illusion of separation. When you feel the suffering of another as your own, the ego's walls collapse. You realize that there is no other. There is only one life, experiencing itself in a billion forms. Part 5, Ultimate Liberation, the Great Remembrance. The metaphor, the ocean and the wave. Where does this journey end? If the goal is evolution, what is the final destination? Imagine two waves traveling across the surface of the vast Atlantic Ocean. The smaller wave is terrified. It looks ahead and sees the shoreline. It sees other waves crashing onto the sand and disappearing. It begins to tremble. This is it, the small wave cries. My life is a tragedy. I was born, I rose, and now I am going to crash and die. I will be nothing. The larger wave, rolling beside it, looks down with deep tranquility. Why are you so afraid? The large wave asks. Because we are going to die, the small wave screams. Look, we are vanishing. The large wave smiles, a smile that holds the depth of the abyss. My dear friend, it says, you are suffering because you have forgotten what you are. You think you are a wave. I am a wave, the small one insists. Look at my shape. Look at my foam. I am separate from you. No, says the large wave. You are water. For a brief moment, you have taken the shape of a wave. You have risen to experience the wind and the sun. But when you crash onto the shore, you do not die. You simply become the ocean again. The truth, you are the awareness. This is the ultimate truth of your existence. Reincarnation is the wave rising and falling. The soul is the water. The goal of life is not to escape the waves. The goal is to realize you are the water while you are still playing as the wave. Eventually, reincarnation becomes voluntary. In the Mahayana tradition, this is the path of the Bodhisattva. These are souls who have realized their oneness with the ocean, but out of infinite compassion, they choose to return as waves. They come back not because they are bound by karma, but because they hear the crying of the other waves who still think they are dying. Liberation does not mean disappearing into a void. It means mastering life. It means you can play the role of the mother, the father, the artist, the teacher, but you play it with a lightness of being. You know it is a divine play. You know that the tragedies are part of the script you wrote. You are the witness behind the eyes. You are the silence between the thoughts. You are the consciousness exploring itself through infinite forms. You are not becoming enlightened. You are remembering that you always were. So, the next time you look up at the stars and ask, "Why am I here?" let the answer echo in your heart. You are here because you chose to be. You are here to learn the lessons that only the physical world can teach. You are here to turn the lead of your suffering into the gold of wisdom. You are the weaver, not the thread. You are the sky, not the clouds. You are the ocean, not the wave. As we close this chapter, take a deep breath. Release the weight of the victim and inhale the power of the Creator. If this message brought peace to your soul, please share it with someone who is struggling. You never know how much a single story can change a life. Please leave a comment below with the words, "I am here to learn, not to suffer." Let that be your mantra for the days ahead. And do not forget to subscribe to Buddha Coha and turn on the bell. We are building a library of light, and we need your spark. Walk gently. Forgive quickly. Love deeply. You are exactly where you need to be. Namo Buddhaya.